We're here today with Maroa Forsyth head football coach Josh Jostes.
I went to Macon High School and born and raised in Macon, Illinois, so just south of Decatur. So I haven't went far, just north of Decatur now. So my whole life's revolved around about 30 miles. I went to Millikan University, so again, staying in the area. My hobbies. Obviously, football is a lot of my time, but I also love all sports. I was a three-sport athlete in high school, so love basketball and baseball, and I'm now currently a track coach. So those things all keep me busy. I'm an avid Bears fan, Illini fan, Notre Dame fan, Alabama fan. So I got a lot of people I like to watch, and I'm an admirer of success. I like to hunt, fish, golf, so I just don't have that time to do it.
What was the type of success you had in college?
Well, I think the biggest thing for me was being a three-sport athlete coming out of Macon, and then I had to get a job and go to college, and sports just weren't in the cards for me. It's probably one of my bigger regrets. Baseball was actually my best sport for sure. I think that's probably what I would have done if I would have had the opportunity to play college. I worked full-time at Hogan Grain, grain elevator there in Elwyn, Illinois that I grew up in, and was able to get my education. So probably my biggest success is carrying a full-time job and still graduating from Millikan and getting my education degree.
What exactly is the process of how you got the football job here at Maroa?
Well, Maroa had struggled a little bit when I was coming into the job. They were actually coming off a playoff season. So in 2000, they went to the first round of the playoffs, and that was a really good class. And an alumni and longtime coach for them, Eric Black, was leaving. I was a 25-year-old rookie. I'd been at Sullivan for 3 years and as an assistant coach, and coached all three sports actually. So football, basketball, and baseball, all at Sullivan. We had a nice run while I was there. I got to coach some great athletes, and so my resume looked really good. You know, I had an undefeated freshman team, and then I moved up with those kids, so I had an undefeated JV team. It helps that I had those same kids. Then I became our varsity baseball coach at Sullivan, and at that time I had kind of decided that football was going to be my thing. Honestly, if you'd asked me coming out of high school and out of college, I would have said, you know, I'm a three-sport guy and I love all of them, and I could be a head coach of all of them, and I really thought I could. Obviously, the time commitment's not going to allow that, and I do still miss, you know, being involved. It's great to have kids that are playing, and so I'm kind of still getting to live through that vicariously.
How long have you been the head football coach?
This is my 21st year, so it'll be my 21st season here when we get started in 3 years. Like I said, Maroa took a flyer on a young 25-year-old guy that had no head coaching experience. And I remember when I got hired, the superintendent told me we wouldn't win a game my first year. And I said we'd take that bet, and unfortunately we did, but not a lot of them.
You have, as a coach, taken the Trojan football team to several state appearances. What makes this program so special?
You know, a lot of things. First and foremost, the dedication and hard work of our kids is key to what we want to do. And at this point, the program kind of sustains itself. Culture is kind of a buzzword that people use, but I think we definitely have that culture. Our kids hold each other accountable, and because they're able to do that, and I get parents that buy in and support the program, and I've had great administrators. You know, we have a turf football field, and, you know, all of those things, all-weather track, top-notch weight room. So it takes a lot of parts to make it special, and fortunately, like I said, Maroa took a flyer on a 25-year-old kid, and we didn't have any of those things when I started.
Favorite part to being a longtime coach here?
Well, it really means you're getting old, but probably my favorite part is that I have several assistants that were players. And that's a great relationship. I think 5 of my 12 coaches are former players. So I think that's an awesome dynamic as you grow into that, from coach, mentor to friend. That's been really awesome. Like I said, when you've been at the same place a long time, I'm now starting to coach former players. Kids are coming into high school, and so those are all neat experiences. I think probably familiarity is one of the things that is the best. it's not like my kids don't know what they're going to get. It's not like their parents don't know what they're going to get. And that eases some burden also.
What does it mean to you to coach your son, Wade?
Well, it's been a blessing. And, I wish it could have been a more normal circumstance for his senior year. Our team is loaded this year. So I've been watching these kids play since they were in first grade. They have stuck together. We have 19 seniors, the biggest senior class we've ever had at Maroa. And like I said, most of them have been here and been playing since first grade when we start flag football. And I would have liked to see them get a chance to make their name. But right now, I'm just really happy that they get their chance to walk off the field on their own terms. And it was looking bleak there for a while. So with Wade and I, personally, it'll probably pull a little bit of the stress off of this season. It's different when you're vying for a state championship and everything is do or die. Now it's more going to be like enjoy the experience. I will still hold him to a very high level like I have all the quarterbacks at Maroa. Playing quarterback at Maroa is a different gig for me, and then having it be my son is it's a special experience, but it can be tough.
How many times have you made a state appearance?
8, I believe. And then when I was at Sullivan, we went to state baseball also. So I actually have none. For any coach, I would say, is program buy-in. Just because I tell you we're fortunate that, our culture gets that. We also don't get to recruit these kids. And so because of that, not every kid is all in. You see a kid with a lot of ability and they're not getting the most out of that ability. That's probably the toughest thing to deal with as a coach. Fortunately, I don't have to deal with that a lot, but that's probably the most heartbreaking thing.
Favorite teams that you have coached?
I get asked this question a lot, and our 2006 team that went 14-0 won our first state championship in the history of Maroa schools, and I was just a young guy then, so I think I was 31 or 32 years old. First appearance at state, and able to win that one and obviously be undefeated. Still stands out in my mind. A lot of those kids, they were the 8th graders when I came to Maroa, and one of the things we hang our hats on, it's a 5-year process and you've got to buy in. Well, those kids were buying in when they didn't have belief. Like, it's a little easier for an 8th grader to come in now and buy in and like, all right, if I follow this plan, then I'm probably going to get to go to state and I'm going to have a great career. Not so much in 2006. It was like, why am I doing this? And so that group's always going to hold a special place in my heart. The 2004 team, like I said, when I got hired in 2001, those were the kids that were coming in. They made our first semifinal appearance, and I think they kind of set that stage for people to say, we upset St. Teresa in the playoffs at their place after they were undefeated conference champ. They'd already beat us pretty bad, 37-16 in the regular season. And we went there and beat them in a playoff game. So that one stands out to me. Jack Hockaday got injured in 2013, and probably that injury cost us a state championship in a week 9. High ankle sprain. We end up losing in the semifinals. That one breaks my heart. In 2011, we went to Casey. We were undefeated. I thought it was one of the best teams that we've ever had. I lost Logan Stelsreed, our all-state quarterback, on play 4 with a concussion. He left. We had our all-state wrestler, Aaron Ford, 6'4", 250, went to Illinois State to play. Dislocates his elbow. He's done by the end of the first quarter. Our tailback, this kid named Tim Younger, one of the toughest kids I've ever had. On our first touchdown, he gets tackled about 8 yards deep into the end zone, breaks his ankle, continues to play the rest of the game. We have to bring in freshman Jack Hockaday, which is our best receiver, but he moves in to play quarterback. Now he can't throw to himself. So there were just so many things that went wrong. We end up losing that game by a touchdown. Not to sound bitter, but I mean, we're probably 3 touchdowns better than that team. If our kids, like I said, we had 3 All-Staters and a future 3-time All-Stater, and none of them, played the game or finished it in their position. And so it breaks my heart for those kids because we've had some close calls. We've also been very fortunate to make it sometimes when we probably weren't as talented. That's how you get 8 appearances. We wish our career record for those kids' experiences. I wish we had a better than 2-6 state championship record.
Favorite game that you've been a part of?
Probably there's a lot, and I don't want any kids to feel like, hey, you left us out. But the one that put us on the map was that 2004 first round playoff game. We went to St. Teresa. They had already beat us. I remember when the playoff pairings were announced. They were 9-0, rated number 1 in the state. We were 6-3. We had not been to the playoffs under me, so it was year 4 that I had been here, and we had yet to take that step. And I remember when they announced, and like the groan, we have a big wings and pizza party, and still do today. And kind of the parents and I remember our kids and our coaches, like that was the game we wanted because we had played them in week 2, and we had gotten a lot better as the year, and the kids could see the fruits of their success. And so to go down there, upset them in the playoffs, propelled us to a semifinal run. We lost to Sterling Newman Central Catholic 14-7, and they went on and won the state championship the next week, 21-7 over Carthage. And it was like we were this close. And at that time, like I said, there was no proof. I'd had 3 seasons, and we were 1-8, 4-5, 1-8, and then this. So it hadn't been as smooth a start. I'm still trying to convince some of those top kids to come out because I would say we were a basketball or a baseball school at that point. And so that kind of put us on the map. And like I said, the sophomores then became my first undefeated state champion.
Where's your favorite place to play?
Well, obviously DeKalb and Champaign, but if you're talking other high school facilities, really enjoyed our games against Athens. They have a beautiful facility over there. We at one point played them at their place due to the playoffs and us joining that league. We played 3 consecutive seasons there, which was terrible, but their field is beautiful. Their fans are raucous. It's a good place to play, and they're a great 1A football team. So that one's been a lot of fun. I actually really enjoy playing at St. Teresa because of the atmosphere. People give me a lot of grief over what I called their field over the years. It is not in the best shape ever. They play soccer and do all sorts of stuff on it, so it's usually a mess. I've referred to it as a pig pen before, but I really do like playing there. The surface is not exactly what it should be, so that's probably my favorite place. Williamsville has a really nice stadium, and those are big games for us as well.
You were recently inducted into the 2021 Hall of Fame. Josh, what does that mean to you?
Well, it was very humbling. It was a career goal when I started out, and at one point when I'm 1-8 my first year, I'm just trying to win a game. But it takes 100 career wins, and if you stick it out long enough, that's really not that difficult to obtain. But there's some great coaches in it, and I was very humbled. And then fortunately, you have to be in coaching for 25 years. So this happens to be my 25th year of coaching. So I ended up getting in on the first attempt, and I thought that was a pretty cool recognition. Most guys are retired, and I've still got a little bit of fuel left in the tanks.
When exactly did you find out that you were in the Hall of Fame?
Well, I had a Coach Jacobs, actually reached out to me and told me he was nominating me, but they needed to know if it was actually my 25th year because I actually helped at Macon High School under my head coach, Tony Klein, my senior year of college. And then I was at Sullivan for 3, which gets me to the 4, and then this is my 21st. That's how I was able to have 25 years experience because they thought I was going to be a year away, but he's like, he said it's a no-brainer. We just got to get this right as far as, which that was kind of a nice compliment. So that would have been back in the fall. And then Coach Jacobs reached out and Coach Alderman reached out and told me, and basically it was a voicemail and a text message. I was in the driver's ed car, so I didn't get either one of them until I got done with that. But it was like Monday, and it's probably been 2 or 3 weeks ago. Growing up, I always wanted to please my dad, obviously, and my dad and I's relationship is well documented up here. But anyway, he taught me my competitiveness and really appreciated that. Like I said, I always wanted to please him, and he coached all my teams when I was younger, and he had his own vices, but sports were important to him, especially when I was growing up. My grandfather, Josh Jostes, is still a huge guy. He's a straight shooter, old school, 91 years old, tells you, how it is. When we were bad, he would tell me how bad we were. When we're good, he doesn't have a lot to say. So, Obviously, that was a big part. My grandmother actually fed me every meal, every breakfast when I needed to gain weight, when I needed to be ready for games. So my grandma, Josh Jostes, is a huge role model for me, and probably not a lot of people list, women. And then my coaches when I was growing up, and so Bill Carpenter and Tony Klein were both my basketball coach and football coaches, and did a lot for me. Tony was actually my defensive coordinator here for my first 12 years on the job, so I got him to leave Macon, and he came up and did. So a guy I trust and believe in, so they were huge role models. And, I've had a lot of great ones. But everything we do is kind of still a little bit from a lot of different programs. So a lot of programs that I look up to and admire. But from the outside, we just kind of take the bits and pieces that fit Maroa.
What exactly has coaching done to change your life?
Well, I do think it's given me an identity. I mean, it's what I do and what I've done since I've been at Maroa now 21 years. This is how people know me. This is where my family was born and raised. Reed, my oldest son, was 6 months old when we got this job. He's a junior at Carbondale now. Wade was obviously born and raised right here. I have an eighth grade daughter, Britt, that is going to grow up and be a Trojan. She's got a volleyball game tonight. She's thrilled. So I'm thrilled these kids are getting back. But probably my biggest thing that I wanted to accomplish is I wanted to be a Hall of Fame role model, a Hall of Fame person that these kids could look up to, and the wins would take care of themselves, and that's kind of happened. And so I do feel like it's kind of came full circle for me. And it wasn't always about wins and losses, but it's a lot easier to get kids to buy in when that way you can get the most out of kids, because like at school in Maroa, we have 350 kids, and then 175 of those are boys, and then we get 75 out for football. That makes it better, easier for us to win, but it also lets us and my coaching staff have an influence on 75 kids and hopefully become those role models and things. And winning helps that, because those kids want to join and be part of the program, so it gives us a chance to touch them.
What advice would you give to young football coaches?
Been asked this a lot, what's the secret sauce? And I think number one is you have to be consistent. Like, if I died today, our kids wouldn't ask if the weight room's open tomorrow from 2:30 to 4. They just show up because they know it's going to happen. And so I think that consistency is huge. They don't care what you know. And it's a cliche in coaching, but they really don't. They want to know you care about them, and they'll run through a wall if they believe and you're genuine that they do, and they won't if you don't. So that part has to happen. So you got to care about them as more than just athletes. And with the consistency piece, there's a lot of parts to that. Where I think our strength and conditioning program is one thing that has allowed us to be consistent over the last 16 years. Instead of being that up and down cycle, we just haven't been that, and it's not like we get the best group of athletes every year. Sometimes we get our share, and sometimes we don't, and those kids live in the weight room for 5 years, make themselves consistent. So there's a lot of parts about being consistent. I think we practice at a championship level. Our practice plan, there's not one wasted second. I think our kids would tell you I don't waste any of their time. By the time we roll into the playoffs, we're an hour and 45-minute practice. When we start the year, it's 2 hours. But they know exactly where they're supposed to be every minute of that 2 hours, and I don't waste anybody's time. So I think consistency, caring about them, and being a big proponent of strength and conditioning is going to be what separates you.
What is something about you, Josh, that not a lot of people know?
Well, I don't know. The kids I grew up with would know it, but my mother lives in California, and my dad since passed away, but he'd remarried a few times, and so as a 16-year-old, I've pretty much lived on my own from 16 until now. I've been with my wife and high school sweetheart. Now we started dating when I was a sophomore in high school, so we're still together. How many ever years that is, I don't even know now. So we've been married for like 22, but we've been together for 30-ish. My wife, it takes a special person to be a coach's wife, and my wife's let me do things my way for our whole lives. So I'm gone a lot. She's had to raise our kids a lot. You know, when they get old enough and they come hang out at the practice field, it's a little easier. I'm sure it was tough when she had, you know, 2 little boys at home and I'm off at a practice and I'm talking to this parent or trying to pep talk this kid, and she's like, we have plenty of stuff to go on here at home. So I think that's a huge piece of it, and I can't thank Heidi enough for letting me do my thing. And she'll tell you now, she's as competitive as I am. You know, if he'd have kept losing, we'd have been out of this business because it isn't worth the toll that it was worth, and then not having. So if this is the way you need to do it, then you know, we're going to have to see results. And so I often laugh at everybody that knows her knows that's the truth. So fortunately, we've been able to hold up my end of the bargain there. Another big part, but our administration and the school boards that I've worked under and our superintendent and principal, Mike Williams, is one that stood out, pushed to help get us turf and all-weather track. Those things are a huge financial commitment. Not every community is willing to do it. Not saying you have to do those things to win, because we were winning before we had it, but that definitely helps drive your kids. They practice on top-notch facilities. Injuries, you know, everybody's talking about frozen ground right now and playing on it. You know, we're not going to have to deal with that issue or tearing up our game fields, and you know, our baseball and softball teams will be on it. And so there's a lot of things that go into making a quality program, a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff. And I think that's probably one that not a lot of people touch on.
Hall of Fame football coach, and what a great guy he is. Josh, thank you for sharing your story. I really had a good time.
Thank you.
And how cool is this? Forsyth head football coach Josh Jostes is named to the Illinois High School Football Coaches Association Hall of Fame class of 2021. The induction ceremony is currently scheduled for June 19th. Jostes is the man behind the Trojans dynasty.